This is The Full View. Welcome back. Now, earlier this month, a young person in Cape Town became one of the first in the country to receive a new HIV prevention injection outside of a clinical trial. And while the injection is not readily available for most members of the public as yet, a select number of people here in South Africa will be able to access it via several implementation studies, also called pilot projects, which will essentially serve as an introduction of the injectable. Social behavioural scientist and lead co-investigator in the implementation team for Fast Prep, Elzette Rousseau, is here to shed some more light on these great news. Elzette, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, great news indeed, right at the back of the announcement that STIs had actually increased, especially among men in this country. But the question, I suppose, is, will those who actually qualify actually go out and get their shot? And what is the process involved to actually get a shot?
So the process involved to get a shot is just based on what SABC has approved. So anyone over 35 kilograms, they can get the shot. So it is just about, are you in an area where some of these pilot projects are happening? So these pilot projects is not research in the sense of looking at efficacy anymore. We know that this product works. This is just like, this is the bridge between how do we get this product into the public sector? How do we start understanding how we make this easily available for people, and especially for those people who feel like they can benefit from it most.
Let's now understand how the injectable actually works according to your investigation, Elzette. I understand it comes in different variations or types as well, and people can even choose the one that they want. So who qualifies or is eligible?
So like I said, anyone is eligible. We have different HIV prevention products in the country at the moment. We all know that we have condoms. We have oral PrEP that's already widely available all over the country. We have the DAPI ring, which is a vaginal ring for women. And then this injectable is available for anyone. We are mainly targeting this current project to younger people, 15 to 29-year-olds, just because we know that is where the burden of the HIV disease is. And that's the population you would want to target in wider rollout.
And with those above mentioned types of course, injectables, Elzette, that you've just mentioned, what has been the feedback in terms of experience from those that have gone to actually acquire about the usage or even asked to receive the shots? So what has been their experience, accessibility, as well as comments on contraindications, as well as side effects after using the CAB-LA or the Daprevine ring and of course, what you called it, the Fast Prep?
So first of all, there was a lot of excitement from the first people that we saw earlier in February. They were saying things like, now I can take my mind off HIV. For 2 months, I don't have to think about it. I know that I'm protected. I'm safe. I don't have to be, sorry in any situation. Some of the feedback is, so it is an injection, which we know comes with a little bit of pain. But other than that, there's not really many side effects. A few people might have, a headache a bit in the beginning, maybe some gastrointestinal things. But most of the things in the clinical trials that were mentioned was that injection side reaction that they might experience. So we haven't had people come back having problems with this. So there's just been a lot of excitement. Also, you speak about accessibility. So we're actually looking at what's the best way to offer this. So the first injection on our project happened from a mobile clinic in the community, because we want to be where the community is. Maybe they don't want to go to the facility. So really being there and offering it there for them. And was offered by a nurse, because we know in South Africa or in Africa at large, our healthcare force, they are nurses. Whereas this product is also available, for example, in the United States, but their doctors are giving it. So we're also looking at, this is very feasible for a nurse to give, and that is how the rollout will look. So that's how we then feedback that this is feasible and advocate for wider rollout.
And speaking of wider rollout, I mean, how soon are we talking? And also maybe take us through how the clinical trial efficacy results can actually differ from real-world results. Interesting phenomenon, Elzette, I mean, especially on the back of COVID, where a lot of misinformation as well as awareness and education, of course, caused quite a furore globally. Have you observed a reluctance in people actually wanting to take part in the trials?
So we haven't seen a reluctance based on that. So in the trial, some people that will come through would be people that have, thought about HIV. They know that there are some things in their lives that might put them at risk for HIV. So we haven't seen that reluctance, but there is concern on the back of the COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines that this will be classed in the same kind of category. But I think a better way to think of it is this is the same as contraception. In contraception, you have an oral, you have your IUD, you have your injectable contraception that you also go with it for every few months. So it's the same. You prevent also HIV every few months by going for an injection.
All right. And very quickly, Elzette, what tests, counseling does one undergo to actually receive the said injections?
Okay, so you get a HIV test to make sure that at that point you are HIV negative. If the test showed you're HIV positive, then we put you on the different route and you start ARVs. So we're trying to have a sero-neutral approach. No matter what the outcome of your test is, you either go for ARVs or you start PrEP. So that is the only thing that we need for someone to start on the injectable PrEP, and their commitment to come back every 2 months again. During the period that they feel that they might be at risk for HIV.
Now, you also said that the demographics of those who prefer the ring over oral PrEP have not been explored in depth. Are you doing more research in this regard in order to fully determine the scope as well as effectiveness on users so as to make more informed social cases?
Yeah, so definitely. So we have these 3 products next to each other and really trying to see where does the demand lie, like who chooses what, which proportion chooses which option, and feeding that back. We work closely with advocates and young people in the community so that they can also then advocate to, whether it's to pharmaceutical companies or to government, and show that if there is a demand so that government can see this is something worth investing in.
All right, Elzette, thank you so much for that. That is Elzette Rousseau, the social behavioural scientist and lead co-investigator in the implementation team for Fast PrEP.